Thank you for tuning in to the World Builders Anvil, episode 313. Now, this is normally Jeff's intro, but I'm stealing it back because he took mine last week.
I took the whole episode.
This week, we're talking about writer's block blockers. How to block that writer's block
Blocker.
and unblock yourself.
It's a good football tie-in, too.
It is, because today is Super Bowl Sunday.
Don't know where to start building your fantasy world?
Do you need more? Does it make sense?
Forget any worries and become a crafter of imagination.
This is the place where we will prime your mind.
Now, it's time to heat up the forge.
Break out the mithril ingots and hammer.
Welcome to the World Builders Anvil. I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And I'm Michael Miller.
Let's sup from the muck of Java and build. Welcome back. Super as always, even though it's a week after for you guys, I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And constantly eating out of bowls, I am Michael Miller.
You said bowls, correct?
Yeah, because you you said super, and I went with bowls.
Okay, I heard something else.
So Super Bowl. See what I did there?
Another
Bowls.
sweet tie-in.
Bowls, Jeff.
Just checking. Didn't have to beep you out again. Even though you've listened enough to the show to realize I actually do cut out all of your audio.
Yeah, it's kind of discouraging, all the effort I put in, only to discover that I just get cut out, except for when I agree with you.
Except, okay, there's like one soundbite every 10 episodes.
That's a great thought, Jeff. That's a good idea, Jeff. I'm glad you said that, Jeff. Like all the positive reinforcement. It's the only thing that gets left in the episode.
Go back and find some audio. We're like, oh, that's really smart, Jeff. And just we keep reusing that for all your interjections.
So writer's block. Now, this is something I'm sure a lot of our listeners have to deal with.
Yeah. And so I've been kind of working on a routine to get through it, right? Because it's something creatively you have blocks, and, writers call it writer's block. I'm sure painters call it, I don't know, painter brush block. I don't know what you would call it.
Creativity block.
Painting block, I guess, would be the same as writing. So painting block.
I don't know if they call it that, though, Jeff. That doesn't
I don't know what they call it. And maybe they're like good and they don't ever have these issues, but
maybe they're talking about maybe a lack of inspiration or an inspirational drought, maybe.
Inspirational drought.
What? You don't think that's a good one?
I kind of like that one. That's why I was giggling there. But no, so it's like I'm into creating routines right now. And I've come to the conclusion in my life that, and I've talked about this, I think, a little bit on the show, where your brain has so much energy a day. Every time you make a decision, big or small, you use up a little bit of that juice. And, I don't have much juice, as Michael would probably attest to, for thinking during the day. So I try and save it. and so the idea is like the way I dress, unless my wife is changing my clothes for me, which has happened upon occasion, I have a group of clothes that I can wear outside. They all go with the jeans or shorts I wear, and I just grab the next shirt on the hanger. I don't look. I don't care. My socks, they all look the same. I don't care. I do put some thought when I buy stuff. Like I like my geeky t-shirts or whatever, but I don't think about it ever again. They just go into the queue, and I wear them when they come up, and I don't think about it because that uses up a little bit of juice.
I've actually recently been doing something similar. And Sarah and I have had discussions about this. Like once we're completely debt free, we both want to simplify our wardrobes and we want to get rid of most of what we own and just have like, a couple uniforms. So it's like, this is what and I kind of dress that way now, but I want to get rid of like all the stuff that I wear to bed and just get like 5 pairs of pajamas that are exactly the same. And then I want to get rid of all of my socks and get rid of buy like 20 pairs of socks that are exactly the same, so that there's no thought process. There's no decision making. I just grab and go. It's one less thing to eat up my energy and time and thought process.
I think it was the author Thoreau who kind of started the idea where he wore this exact, I think he had the same shirts and same pants and maybe even black. I know there are people today who do the same thing, and it's for that exact purpose where it's like you don't have to think about your clothes. I believe Obama as president actually had the same ties, and he just did the same clothes every day too. And there's some truth to it, and most definitely. And the thing is, So the thing is, when you have writer's block, part of it is one, you're running out of juice. So it's coming up with a routine that works for me. And I think it could work for other people, or at least be a good starting point to try. Because there's certain things I know that work for me that won't work for other people. But you should always try, because make things routine that aren't important. Save your brain for the important decisions, the things you care about, like what character should get killed off in the next chapter, what player needs to die at the next game session,
in the next game, yeah,
the important stuff. So going through it, here's the first thing I like to do is I like to listen to music I love. Music I love typically causes a lot of energy in me. It helps. It helps me, and this is part of it too.
It invigorates you.
It helps invigorate me. But the thing I find is when it's a block of any type, it can't be a song I like to sing. It has to be either instrumental, or there are songs that I know that have lyrics that I can listen to and I can feel and I can jam out with, but they don't make me sing. There are other songs, that if I hear, I will, at least the chorus will want to sing, and any songs like that get cut out of that playlist. If I find myself singing parts of them, they get cut out because they're taken away from my creativity.
It ends up being more of a distraction than a helper.
Because the ultimate thing, I'm going for here is, to get going again at the task I want to do, not something else. Because it's very easy to get distracted and stop. So I'm trying to prevent that. And this is also saying that you're at the table. One of the things we're not covering is, and we've talked about this before, that 15-minute trick to get started. This is you're at the table trying to get started and you're stuck. Music won't help you get to the table if you're not there. Now, the number 2 thing I like to do, and these are in order, is I like to review the outline and make changes if need be. So like I have little chapter outlines I like to go by, and sometimes they're very loose because I can see the story in my head. And sometimes by the time I get to writing them, the story I saw in my head is gone because I didn't write enough down. So sometimes it's like, okay, instead of just sitting down and plowing out the chapter, let me try and figure out how this is going to work out for me. How is this going to run down? And most of my chapters are essentially scenes. Sometimes a couple scenes put together, but usually a scene. That's kind of the way I like to break things up logically. And even if I'm creating like a story for an RPG game or whatever, I think in scenes. That's just the way I like to do it. And so I'll sit and I'll look at the scene and go, okay, and maybe a little sketch outline of where characters are, how they're moving, try and just get into the scene mentally. Because a lot of times if your brain can start seeing something happen, it's easier to get the fingers typing something out. And there's music that I love in there again. These are really bad notes you put together, Michael. Jeez.
I was going to say, I was just noticing that you have music there twice.
I was putting stuff down, but when I was thinking it through, I was actually reordering things on purpose. So we're going to skip that one, and we're going to go to the next thing I like to do, a 10-minute break. And this isn't any kind of 10-minute break. This isn't me going to the bathroom or sitting on the couch and watching TV for 10 minutes or playing on my phone for 10 minutes. This is something to get my blood flowing. A lot of times when you're blocked, it's you have no energy.
See, I was going to specifically say about this, like this, I think should be a brief, I'm going to say a calisthenic break, not just like a stretch break, but literally like a little jog in place, maybe run around the house, do some jumping jacks, like literally get your blood in your body pumping, because that brief activity wakes you up. It gets the oxygen flowing through your body. Gets,
and a lot of times when you're feeling
helps
down,
to reoxygenate your blood.
And there are tricks and tips as well to different things you can do. Breath scaling is an insane one. Only do that one out of desperation, but people like to do cupping and tapping across their body, and it kind of it slaps the capillaries, kind of opens them back up, and to help the blood flow. Physically moving is really good too. I would definitely start with physically moving and slapping myself before I did the breath scaling. That's a bit insane, but it does work if you're exhausted and need a little bit more.
Learning appropriately how to breathe is something that is incredibly important, and I have found really helpful in my life. I didn't realize how valuable it was, but I learned it at a very young age.
Yeah, because you learned it singing. Right?
I learned it singing, and it's been super, super helpful to me. And like I had someone I talked to recently who I was talking to online, somebody I was playing video games with, and I was explaining it to him, and I forget why he needed to know it, but it was something that he didn't know how to do, and I started to explain it to him, and I started to walk him through how to breathe, like and how to work so that you can stretch those muscles in your lungs better,
and you breathe better. The diaphragm, that's an important thing. You don't breathe out your throat.
Yeah. So I was explaining to him and running him through the exercise, and he goes, "Wow, it's making me a little lightheaded." I'm like, "It will."
Which it should.
I'm like, "It's going to until you get it down." Like once you get it down, like I breathe, I'm a belly breather. Like I breathe way down low and then fill up my lungs. Like I can literally inhale for like almost a full minute straight. That's just me inhaling. Like I can literally take a very long, slow inhale and then, so it's like funny, like my normal breathing, like when Sarah and I will be like laying in bed and just doing like a breathing exercise or like meditation or whatever, I listen to her breathing while I'm breathing, and she'll breathe like 3 breaths before I'm done one. Like, and that's doing like she's doing a slow inhale and a slow exhale. Meanwhile, I'm like still inhaling and then just slowly exhaling.
Yep, most definitely. And breath scaling, for those of you that don't know, just a brief one, is like you start off very, very shallow breathing, and then each breath in you just take bigger and bigger and bigger breaths.
And I'll admit, I don't have a lot of experience with scaling.
Yeah, that's when I learned at High Performance Academy, and I don't use it very much, so I'm not going to get into it too much here. But it's one that like you feel like you just like took some crystal meth. I mean, it'll get you going. Now, the next thing is if I've done the 10-minute break and it's still not working, I've reviewed my outline and the story may be starting to get in my head, but whenever I try to write, it just disappears again. I then look at the environment I'm in. Am I distracted? And it's very hard to say what distracts people. It's like, for me, I can listen to music. Some people, if they hear sound, get distracted and they can't listen to any kind of music. For me, I have headphones on a lot of times, even if I'm not listening to music, if I'm trying to concentrate, because if I hear my son in the other room starting to cry or getting loud, it will get me just up and gone. Or at least mentally, even if my wife's watching him and I don't need to go, if I hear the sounds that would make me normally go check on him, I will at least mentally get derailed.
For me, it depends on, I don't know if it's like mood or whatever. I was recently in a scenario where I had paperwork that I had to fill out in a brief amount of time, and there was music playing and somebody kept talking to me, and it was pleasant conversation. So I didn't want to be like, don't talk to me. Like I really need to get this done. But at the same time, I had a really hard time filling out. It was basic information about myself. It's like just, what do you call it? Like, it was employment paperwork. So, but there was also, but it was like,
so in a way you wish you could talk, but you do need to concentrate to get it done.
Well, right. Because I wanted to get out of there. So,
there's something about, and you just got to know what distracts you. And if you find yourself looking at it, phones are very distracting. I use Do Not Disturb. I will turn it on my phone manually. And I have it set to where contacts can interrupt. So if they call or text me, like Michael can interrupt me. So most or people who I know who are in my phone as a contact can call me if need be or text me. And if I'm not super concentrating, I'll let them do it. Otherwise, I'll actually just I'll kill off the phone completely so I get no notifications, because phones train you via notifications to react. Like, if you have your Facebook notifications on, which I turn mine off so I don't get those in there, every time it makes your phone vibrate or make a little ding sound, you're on your phone and Facebook again. So that's a bad thing in general, but in your everyday life, there are things that distract you and only you know what they are. And sometimes you have to pay attention, try and sit there and concentrate and notice if you keep going back to the same thing, it's a distraction. The way your office, the way you work, where you work might in itself be a distraction.
Yeah.
Be willing to change it up. And sometimes it's just that moment, right? Sometimes I can go outside and write because I get distracted in my normal area. But usually if I'm outside writing, it's usually distracting for me, and I can't do that either. So it's kind of funny the way the brain works, but it's at the moment thing. You have to be sort of aware, it's be present, be mindful. I think
when Sarah studies, she usually goes to the library, because when she goes to the library, there's nothing else to do there.
Yeah.
She gets way more done. So after she's done with class, she'll stay
Might
at
as well
the school.
read the textbook.
Well, right. She'll stay at the school and she gets focused, good work done. Whereas if she's at home, she's got the cats, she's got Facebook, she's got the internet, and television or whatever.
Let's be honest, you're a pest. So
no, because she's doing this when I'm at work. So
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not. I'm usually pretty good about making sure that I'm not as distraction.
I can tell you that it's like our office door stays closed. If I try and work on the couch, downstairs, especially if my son's awake, my son's on me, my cats are on me, and it's impossible. The son wants to help press all the buttons on the screen too. Mm-hmm. And my moving laptop is a touch screen, which does not help in that scenario. So, but yeah, you just gotta realize, and sometimes, maybe you need to get out of your house and go to the local library or something. But even if no one else is home, sometimes you need to do that just because you need to be in a different environment sometimes. Mm-hmm. The other thing is be present. Are there thoughts that are interrupting you too? Sometimes it's not always an environmental thing. Sometimes it's a mental thing. It's like, oh, I didn't get that email written down. Whoops, I didn't do this thing. I need to do this thing. I have 2 rules of thumb. If it could take me less than 5 minutes to do it, I will just do it. That way, there's no reason to think about it again. If it's going to take me longer,
that's a good rule. That's a really great rule. Can
wait. What I'll do is I have a notebook I carry around with me. I'll show it to Michael and pretend like everyone else can see it here. It's one of those big drawing notebooks, and I carry it around everywhere. And I have 1 page per day. If anything is in my mind that I need to do later, I just write it down. I don't have to go in my software where I track this stuff. I don't have to go in there to put it in and see all the things I have to do. I just have this 1 piece of paper I worry about once I get going for the day. And if anything comes to my mind, it goes on here. Everything gets dealt with one way or another by the end of the day. And this includes for creativity stuff. So I guess the notebook thing is sort of a bonus. I wasn't planning to talk about that, but it's a good one. It's useful. And that's really the other thing is that getting things done technique is, it should never go into a to-do schedule if it takes you less than 5 minutes to do. And then for me too, I break my stuff down into stuff I can get done with Eric around and stuff I need to concentrate to do. Mm-hmm. I can make the phone call to the dentist office when I'm watching Eric. I cannot build a website. Okay. And then I will I'm going to change the order on these two because I think it would be better the other way. And one of the things I do when I'm building a routine is I actually literally will put this like at my desk. I have a whiteboard. It will be on my whiteboard until it gets done. And I might insert other things as I go along, but usually it's like that way I just look at the list, what's next. I don't think about, I just do what's next. Mm-hmm. The next thing I'll do is I will take a notebook to the shower, my big giant notebook I was just talking about. I will go and I will go and take a shower. I will take a shower, and if I have any ideas that pop in my brain, I'll write them down. But, sometimes the shower will help wake you up too. But this is meant to be a relaxing shower because once I'm done with that, I will go back and I will I'll try and write for 15 more minutes. I'll try and get through that block for 15 more minutes. If anything doesn't come to mind, I will be done for the day. Because they say a lot of times inspiration comes in that morning shower or on the toilet in the morning. It's because you've given your mind a time to break. And sometimes that's really what you need is a true real break. And sleep is the best way to repair the mind and get it going, which is why usually it's in the morning when you're in an alone time, like going to the bathroom or in the shower, you have the aha ideas. Aha. So all the weird stuff that Jeffrey likes to learn. Okay. That would have been another good episode title here. Weird stuff that Jeffrey likes to learn. But yeah. That is essentially my routine. I don't think there's anything like too overtly serious about it. But just to quickly again, for my taste, I start with music I love that gets my blood flowing, but I don't sing. I will review my outline that I'm trying to write through, and I might make changes or flesh it out a little bit more to try and get my brain in the flow. I'll take that 10-minute break to get my blood flowing. Like Michael says, this is moving around blood flowing. You need to elevate your blood level. If you have an elliptical machine or something, it's another great quick way to do that. I'll verify that there's nothing distracting me in the environment and nothing distracting my brain. Because for me personally, my brain is probably worse than the environment, to be honest. So it's like, I wish I could get more done in the day. We all wish we had more time. And a lot of times when you're trying to do something that you consider fun, you start to feel guilty. And you go, I should do this, I should do that. And sometimes you could, but you don't necessarily need to at that moment. So make sure your environment and mind are clear.
On the breaks too, I think it's also important to take breaks, even if you are on a roll. Like sometimes if I'm on a roll, I don't want to stop. I want to make sure that I capitalize on the focus and on the ideas. And if they're coming, I'll just marathon it. But that can lead to burnout. So I think if you're going and like, say you're, doing a nice long writing session, you've been at it for like 2 hours or whatever, like don't forget, you got to drink, you got to eat, you have to take, a breather here and there, maybe finish the scene or finish the chapter, whatever you're working on, and quickly sketch out some of the ideas that you got, write a couple of them down real quick, like in an outline form, and then say, okay, I'm now granting myself a half hour to take a breath, focus, get something to eat, drink some water, and then get back to it.
I usually every hour like to have 5 or 10 minutes where I take a movement break. And I always try and move in those minutes. Sometimes I have a desk that can be a standing or sitting desk. I like to alternate there. And, so sometimes I'm staying up, sometimes I'm sitting down, but I like to change that, at that time. I just, like I said, getting that blood moving throughout the day is better than just doing it when you need it. Because overall, you'll get more benefit if you do it throughout the day. But yeah, there's a technique. It's called Pomodoro, and there are a lot of Pomodoro timers that will help you ensure that you take breaks after 30, like every 25 minutes or every 50 minutes is typically how Pomodoro works. And I don't do strictly Pomodoro, but like once an hour, I try and take a 10-minute break. But like Michael says, if I'm like finishing something up, I'll take a few minutes to finish it up. I won't cut a thought off, exactly. So, but yeah, no, it's a great thing to do throughout the day. But then going back to this is then I'll take a note, or I'll finish the thing that's distracting my mind quickly. And I will make a note, or I'll do it, and then I'll move on. Then I'll take a shower, a nice relaxing shower. And then I'll try to write one more time for 15 minutes. If nothing comes, and I will free write in there too. Like, Jeff, you are a butthead, if you don't start writing, Michael is superior to you, which almost always breaks through for me. But I'll write something when I'm trying to write, even if it's not what I want to write, or if it's what I want to write, but it's like, Bill said Frank bad said Bill to Frank punch Bill punch Frank. It might be really bad too, but sometimes it's just getting the action, starting to exercise that muscle will get you back into the routine. So, take that 15 minutes, free form write, or start writing if you have even bad thoughts about what you're supposed to write going through your brain. If nothing comes to mind, you're done for the day, until you take a nap or you go to bed. The thing is, you can sit and try and do something for 20 hours. If after, an hour or so you're not doing it, it's best to move on. Okay. And now, Michael, do you have a world building task for the day?
World building task. How about creative routine that works for you? I mean, these things all work for Jeff and I. I don't do all the ones that he does. I'm sure he doesn't do all the ones that I do, but these are all great suggestions. But if you've got something that works for you, like maybe you have like some sort of exercise that you do, or meditation, or like some special kind of break that you grant. So maybe you go to the kitchen and have a piece of chocolate just to get yourself excited and go back into writing.
Chamomile tea keeps me going.
Yeah, coffee, whatever it is. Like, do what works for you, but don't be afraid to try some of these other things too, because you might find a useful tool here that you hadn't tried before.
And just because something works for us, and if it doesn't work for you, just throw it out. Right. So what I tell people about doing routines is there are lots of good ideas and lots of things that people do who are really good at this kind of stuff, right? Who are really good at building routines and systems, they like to call them, in their lives. And that's awesome. And they're great places to start. But if things don't work for you, don't do them. It's like I've gone through several getting things done types of people's work. And the thing I find is some of them have merit in certain ways and other ones have merit in other ways. But I end up throwing stuff out because if it causes me to work more at trying to get things done, then getting things done, it's not what I want it to do. So
I
no matter what you're doing, be willing to throw stuff out when it doesn't work for you, even if it works for someone who is better at it than you. Like the music, right? Some people, if they hear any music, any sound, some people will get distracted. You need a noise canceling headphone and nothing going through it.
My big gospel, and this is not just with creative, but like just anything, especially when it comes to like your peace of mind, is the expression
peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Oh, peace.
It is, if it doesn't serve you, then get rid of it. Don't entertain thoughts that don't serve you. So if, like, when it comes to your writing, if you're constantly saying, "Oh, I'm a bad writer," then you're constantly reinforcing that you're a bad writer. And you're that doesn't serve you, because you
maybe spend some of the time not writing, working on improving the way you think. Because there's truth in the old self-talk. If you talk down, you're hurting yourself. If you talk up, you're helping yourself.
Yeah.
So,
but my whole big bit is, if it doesn't serve you, let it go. Don't keep doing it. Don't keep saying it. Don't entertain it.
Yes.
And that means people in your life. That means thoughts in your mind. That means actions that you take. If it doesn't serve you, stop.
Yes.
Stop doing it.
Stop doing it.
All right. You got a real world task?
I have a real world task for us as well, too. And it's to share your routine with us. Because a lot of times people need ideas. Like I said, this is something newer I'm working on. So mine's going to be edited over time and changed. And I'm always looking for new ideas in this. And someone might have the thing that will perfect it. But the place to do that would be to go to facebook.com/groups/Undercroft. And you have to actually type it epically, like Undercroft. Don't type Undercroft. It's not Undercroft. It's Undercroft.
Yeah, you should probably capitalize it when you type it, just because.
All caps. Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
And I think Michael, who can't remember how URLs work, I think he just goes into the find in Facebook and types Undercroft.
I do.
Look for the Fantasy World Builders Undercroft, and he'll go there.
Well, but it's actually one of my favorites now, so it's real easy for me to find it now. But like, I usually just tell people, just look.
Usually,
for
once it's in your groups and you go to it a lot, it shows up really fast. I don't know how many Undercrofts there are at this point. Probably not a lot, but I know I think there might be an Undercroft band as well. So
maybe
the thing is, you should join their group and follow them. I don't know their music. I should go check them out. Now,
are you sure it's a band? I've never heard of Undercroft, so I don't know. Are you making this up, or you're speculating?
I think I saw like an indie band one time when I was searching Undercroft.
Fair enough.
But like, I'd never heard of them before, and I'm not positive now, so it could be my crazy imagination making it up too, because that would be cool if there was like a death metal band called Undercroft. And if there isn't one and you like and can perform death metal, start a group called Undercroft for us, please.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Follow. And but share it with us in the Undercroft. I'm actually going to get a thread going next week on this. The week after the Super Bowl, you're hearing this, so go join. We'll throw it up there. We'll try and get some people interacting and going and sitting there trying to help each other. That's the whole point of a community, right? Is to help each other. So Facebook.com/groups/Undercroft. And Michael and I, from the deepest parts of our heart, hope you have a great week. And we will see you next time. Wow, that was over dramatic, but meant.
Yes, sincere.
Thank you so much for listening to the World Builders Anvil.
We would love it if you would share the World Builders Anvil with 2 of your friends.
And so would they.
If they are unfamiliar with podcasts, then you get to introduce them to the wonderful world of podcasting.
Take them to Stitcher or iTunes, or best of all, just send them to our website, www.gardul.com.
That's GARDUL.com.
Now strike while the mithril's hot.